So, in the Trump trial, why does the judge keep favoring the prosecution over the defense? Joining us now is Alan Dershowitz, Professor Emeritus at Harvard Law School. Professor Dershowitz, welcome back, sir. You were in the courtroom yesterday, and you unleashed about this. Tell us some more. I mean, I don't know, how biased is this story?
Well, he's as biased as I've ever seen a judge be. I was sitting in the front row, and I saw him go berserk when Costello dared to raise his eyebrows after the judge made ruling after ruling after ruling that was unfair. I raised my eyebrows. I stared at the judge, and then the judge did something I have never seen in my 60 years of practicing law all over the world. He said to this key witness, "I'm going to strike your testimony and not allow you to testify if you ever look at me again that way." Now, Donald Trump didn't do anything wrong. That would be depriving Trump of his right to a defense under the Sixth Amendment. This judge in one day violated more constitutional rights and made more unlawful rulings in the 8 hours I was in the courtroom that day than I've seen in months and months and months of trials. I don't know whether the judge is influenced by his daughter making money off a Trump conviction or whether he just comes to the case with an extreme bias. But the way he treated that lawyer, Costello, I have never seen a judge do that to a distinguished lawyer who used to be the deputy head of the criminal division of the Justice Department. Shame, shame on that judge. And he ought to be taken to the woodshed by the Bar Association, and some sanctions ought to be imposed on him. How dare he threaten to not allow Donald Trump to put on a witness because the judge didn't like the way he looked at him. You know, it reminds me of, what was that film, Taxi Driver? Hey, you looking at me? You looking at me? The judge was, he acted like a paranoid schizophrenic. You looking at me strange? I'm going to strike your testimony. As if it's his courtroom rather than the courtroom of the people of the city of New York.
Well, Professor Dershowitz, is it possible to gauge the jury's reaction to all of that?
Yeah, juries love judges, and Marchant is a benevolent tyrant. He runs the courtroom tyrannically, but he seems so nice. When the jury was there, he puts on a nice face, and then he throws the jury out, and he throws all the media out, and he goes nuts. Fortunately, for some bizarre reason, I wasn't thrown out. When all the media was thrown out, I sat in the front row, and I watched him. I watched how angry he was and how biased he was. I wish the case was on television so that everybody could see it. By the way, this trial is being televised. I saw the television cameras in the courtroom. The only problem is the only people who can see the television version are the people in the overflow room who are media. The American public ought to be able to see how the judge is handling this trial.
Just in the last minute, sir, is there any way, do you think Mr. Trump has the upper hand, the lower hand? How do you see this verdict?
I don't think he has the upper hand because this is a New York jury. If this were a jury in Staten Island rather than Manhattan or Rockland County, he'd be out of there in 15 minutes of jury deliberation. There's no case here. There is no credible evidence that he himself knew that the payments would be listed in a corporate form as legal expenses rather than as remuneration for what was paid previously. There's just no evidence, and the only evidence of any kind involves the credibility of Michael Cohen. I was literally 2 inches away from Cohen. I saw him lie after lie after lie. I would never accept a pardon from Donald Trump. He had told his lawyer he would do anything to avoid prison, steal, lie, cheat. But then he says in court, I wouldn't accept a pardon from Donald Trump. No. Total nonsense. And I hope the jury sees through it, because this is an outrageous prosecution. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, pro-Trump or anti-Trump, you ought to be outraged at the way our legal system is being manipulated for partisan political purposes.
All right. Thank you, Professor Dershowitz. We appreciate it.